That is right. So on today's video, I thought we would take a look at the HHN roadmap of announcements, a little bit of last year mixed in with this year, and some of our thoughts of when we might see announcements, because, well, it's almost May and we have nothing announced. So Stranger Things is actually having a huge rollout in May. It's actually going to be some new merch that's going to be dropping, not merch for Horror Nights, but they're having a rollout of season 4 merch that's going to be dropping. Season 4 episode 1 premieres on May 27th of this month. Now, that would be prime time, I would believe, for Horror Nights to actually make an official announcement for Stranger Things. Now, what we're basing this on is the speculation map released by Horror Night Nightmares version 2. If you didn't know, Fear Street was on the first map, but then it got swapped out for Stranger Things season 4. And what I'm believing is we are going to get our first big house announcement in May. Now, we can get it earlier in May, or we can get it around the time that the season 4 episode 1 premieres. Now, looking at how it went for last year's announcements, I know it's a little weird, but it's the closest we have to announcements season to kind of look at. March 5th, we actually had Beetlejuice announced. We actually had some of the event dates drop. March 15th, we actually had the Beetlejuice merch drop, which was kind of fun. It was something to kind of get us pumped up, and I love this whole merch drop thing they're doing now. Then on June 16th, we actually had that teaser on the website, and then June 17th is when we had the announcement for Jack the Clown was kind of being our host. We had single night tickets, RIP tickets, and the Cabana Bay theme experience. Now, this is kind of interesting because in June, they announced tickets, express, RIP tickets. They flipped the script a little bit because this year they actually didn't announce the express. They only did sort of the Unmasking the Horror tour. We got the RIP tour, single night tickets, hotel stay, but they didn't do express or the Cabana Bay announcement yet. I'm hoping that's still going to return, but it wasn't announced quite yet. And looking at the next big IP, not the weekend per se, the Black Phone, which is a part of the Horrors of Blumhouse sort of mashup house, the release date on that one is actually June 24th. Now, if we had Stranger Things announced in May, this would make sense to announce this in around the time of the announcement for the movie to kind of pump people to go see the movie. Makes sense, marketing. So I do believe we will see, if Horrors of Blumhouse stays on track, we would see this announcement right around the time of the release of this. If not, we might see an original thrown in there just earlier on, just to kind of get us going at the start of June, and then we'll have this later on in the month of June. Now, looking back at what we had got announced last year, on July 8th, we actually had The Haunting of Hill House, which was an IP property. Now, if you're looking at the speculation map, we only have 3 more properties that are IP related that could be announced. Now, we could get easily The Weeknd announced in July. That would kind of make sense in my opinion. To last year in July 15th, we actually had 2 properties announced. We had Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives, which is kind of a throwaway because it was already previously a house for HHN Light, so maybe that's why they threw it on there. They could do the same this year, or it could have a standalone announcement with the Universal Monsters, The Mummy versus Wolfman, and then we have Halloween to be announced. So those are the two last IP properties that we could get announced kind of late July together, although that wouldn't make very much sense to announce those together. So it's very tricky when it comes to those two. I don't know if you give The Weeknd his own big announcement, or do you give Halloween its big announcement, or do you do Halloween a little bit later, because that movie doesn't even come out until like October time. So kind of tricky. What do you guys think? Leave it down in the comment section. Well, looking at the speculation map, that means we would have all of the originals announced late or mid-August. Around that time is what I'm believing. We would get probably maybe 2 announcements, or maybe 1 big announcement like early August for everything to be kind of announced, and then the tribute store maybe to open maybe late August. What do you guys think? How would you guess the announcement season? Put it down in the comment section. And if you're wondering what are we talking about when I reference this speculation map, check out this video and it will give you all the details on that one. So